Well, hello everybody. Thank you for clicking play on the video. I have another message to you, and today it's on temptation. And I know that's not too fun of a subject, but I feel like for particular reasons it's very important to start talking about temptation these days. I noticed something very interesting. When Satan was tempting Jesus in the wilderness, Satan used a particular phrase in Matthew chapter 4, verses 3 and 6. He said, "If you are the Son of God, turn these stones into bread. If you are the Son of God, jump off this pinnacle." Now we know Jesus didn't budge. He was strong because he'd been fasting and fellowshipping with his Father for 40 days, and his spirit was taking dominion over his flesh. His flesh was not the boss of him. Isn't that great? That'd be a great thing to not have your flesh be the boss of you, right? Okay, well, it says in Luke chapter 4, verse 13, that when the devil had finished every temptation of Jesus in the wilderness, that when he had finished, he departed from Jesus until an opportune time. Satan knew that this was not a good time to tempt Jesus. There's no way he was going to get him to obey him. When would be a more opportune time? So now as we think about Christ's ministry, we know that, people wanted to stone him. They were always arguing with him, testing him. No doubt there were times he was hungry and tired. I mean, he was wrapped in flesh just like we are. The scriptures say that he was tempted in all things just like we are. So when was that more opportune time that Satan used to try and tempt him? Well, I think we find the clue in Matthew chapter 27, verse 40. When people were standing below Christ as he was hanging on the cross, and people were saying to him, "If you are the Son of God, come down here off the cross." What would you be thinking? What would Jesus have been thinking? Because after all, he was at the end of his earthly ministry. The hard part had been done. He had made it through that horrific arrest, humiliation, and torture. What would he be thinking? He's almost to be reunited with his Father. Surely Satan knew that. How could Satan even think that would be a more opportune time to tempt Jesus into sinning and worshiping him instead? Well, Jesus' flesh was in pain. He was thirsty. He was feeling alone and isolated away from the companionship of his Father. Didn't have his family and his best friends right there by himself urging him on when the people were shouting out, "If you are the Son of God, come down off this cross." He didn't have a cheering team next to him. So I was thinking, what kinds of things could Jesus have been thinking? Did Satan know how he would be thinking? So I'm trying to think of, okay, if I were Jesus, reverently, just for the sake of this lesson, if I were Jesus, what would be going through my mind that Satan would think that's a more opportune time to tempt me to come down off the cross? Well, I might be thinking, look at me, I'm as good as dead. Anybody looking at me knows I'm just hanging by a thread. I'm almost dead. Boy, if I got off the cross now, that would sure prove that I was raised from the dead. That would, I could see why that would wake up a lot of people. Maybe I could save some people that way. Or maybe I would be thinking, maybe the Father wants me to get off the wood. Maybe he sent those people to say that to me. Come down off the cross if you are the Son of God. After all, think of Isaac. He was able to get off the wood when his father Abraham found a ram caught in the thicket. Perhaps Jesus is thinking, I don't see a substitute ram caught anywhere because I have limited vision on this cross. I can't move my neck, but maybe there is a ram somewhere. Well, Maybe Jesus was thinking, the worst is over. My Father now knows I have proven it to him. I would lay down my life to him. Look what I've been through. I am as good as dead now. I could just get down off this cross, start my reign a little early. You know, what's a week or so? My Father will still guide me like he always has. Boy, that would sure surprise those people telling me to come down off the cross. Maybe that would open their eyes. In fact, the scriptures say that if God didn't cut the days short, there would be no flesh left. And look, there's nobody around the cross here. Nobody's believing I'm the Son of God. Maybe my Father is cutting the days short. Or maybe Jesus would be thinking, if I do come down off this cross to prove to them that I am God, it might be the wrong thing to do, but my Father will still bless me because he knows my heart. Do any of these thoughts resonate with you? Can you see, if you were Jesus, how you might be thinking some of those thoughts I just shared? Well, when Jesus was in the garden praying right before his arrest, he told his disciples, pray that you do not fall into temptation. So I am thinking, this season we're in right now, I think this could be the season that Satan feels is the most opportune time for him to tempt us. The reason why I think we could be in that season is because what we're going through now, it's happening to the entire globe. We're not in a situation that is just happening to a certain region of the United States or to another far-off country somewhere. No, what is happening right now is happening on a global scale. And this is how we can know that our earthly ministry is almost done here. We're at the end. We're almost going to be reunited with our Father. We're that close. We just have a little bit of time left to finish our earthly ministry as we know it. The rapture, the fulfillment of Enoch's rapture is about to happen. Enoch was a Gentile. It's a Gentile church. And then God is going to get back, refocus his attention on Israel. So I think our ministry is just about up. This is an opportune time for Satan. He's wanting you to miss the rapture. And maybe to take down the road, we'll talk about why that would be, why that is so important to him that you missed the rapture, why I missed the rapture. Well, I also think that this season, this opportune time for Satan to tempt us, will continue and will intensify all the way until Jesus comes back at his second advent to defeat all of his enemies at Armageddon. I think the temptation is just going to get worse and worse and worse. Now, so if I'm right, this means if a situation should arise where your flesh does not get the food, water, shelter, or companionship that it wants, that you're used to, that we have experienced in normal life, that's the time to heed Jesus' instructions. Pray that you do not fall into temptation, because your body, your flesh, is going to want to be the boss of you. It's going to want to be able to once again have these, what I call creature comforts. Also, a situation may arise when people are humiliating you. If that humiliation comes and that pride rises up, and causes you to want to remain in the comfort of what has been familiar to you. Satan's kingdom, I mean, after all, Satan's kingdom is this world. The whole world lies in the power of the evil one, right? We know that. It says that in 1 John. That's the kingdom we're most familiar in. We know how to operate in that. It would be so easy to fall back into that when someone says to you, if you just get this, do this, receive this, then you can go back to work. You can go to this restaurant. You can go to this ball game with all your buddies. Wow. Can you see how tempting that's going to be? Can you see how in this season that it is an opportune time for Satan to cause us to fall and to miss the rapture? So, when Satan tempts you by saying, if you are a child of God, he knows your heart. The flesh is weak, the spirit's willing. He knows your heart. You'll be fine. Go ahead and get this, do this, receive that. Now you know. Pray. Heed Jesus Christ's instructions and pray that you do not fall into that temptation. Okay? Again, thank you for sticking with me to the end of this video. I know it's not easy, but I do feel like it is something we need to address in these days. And I think maybe if you kind of study this out in these verses again, you'll agree and you'll start preparing your family. I just think, I love all these families that are watching the videos as you're homeschooling your kids, and I know the kids are missing their youth groups. As we parents are kind of stepping up and educating our children about the order of end-time events, especially our teens, our college-age kids, I just think this is so important to be having these discussions, because a time even might come where the world is saying to your teenager, if you just receive this, you'll get cell service. If you don't receive this, just, might as well surrender your cell phone. Wow. Can you see how tempting that's going to be for our youth? Okay, well, I love you guys. I am praying for all of you subscribers. I am praying for all of you viewers. Occasionally I look at the viewer count and I am praying for you in this season where this global crisis is happening. It is going to intensify. I am praying that you are growing deeper in the scriptures. And after studying this lesson out for myself and praying for myself and my family, I am praying it for your families as well. So, God bless you. I look forward to when I can see you again and bring another video. And we'll talk to you later. Bye.